my generals and admirals, and welcome to Total War Wednesday, and welcome to Empire Total War and the Grand Campaign, where I, Grand Commander Smuggler, lead my country of choosing to either victory or defeat. And the country of choosing I have chosen is Sweden. We'll be playing the long campaign, and the victory conditions are as follows. Capture and hold 25 regions by the end of the year 1799, including the regions shown: Brandenburg, Ingria, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, Karelia, Muscovy, Cortland, and Poland. We'll be starting off with 4 regions. Our campaign difficulty will be set at normal, and our battle difficulty will be set at normal. Sweden, start year 1700. Sweden dominates Scandinavia and the Baltic, a northern European empire that its legacy is the incomparable warrior king Gustavus II Adolphus. Even though he died in battle at Lutzen in 1632, the army that he created helped Sweden profit from the seemingly endless religious struggles of the 30 Years' War. The nation emerged from the conflict infinitely stronger in military terms and able to invade its Baltic neighbors at will. This military power did, however, cost money and Swedish lives. Neither of these commodities are available in abundance. Prudent stewardship has been necessary to Charles XI. However, has left an impressive arsenal in place for his son should he wish up to take up the sword, and Charles XII has an obsessive interest in soldiering. As the new century dawns, Sweden is a strong, aggressive state. Surrounded by jealous rivals she has taken territory in the last 100 years. To the east, the Russians would like unhindered access to the Baltic, and therefore Western Europe. Beyond, to the south, Poland and Lithuania wants its lost lands back. To the west, the other Scandinavian nations want independence or an end to Swedish domination of the Baltic. In all these potential threats, however, lurk opportunities for those bold enough to seize a chance. Individually, Sweden's rivals are not quite as threatening as they might appear. Russia is huge, that much is true, but incredibly backwards. There is no reason why the Baltic, as a Swedish Mare Nostrum, cannot become the basis of a new northern Protestant empire. Sweden's armies are the equal of any in Europe, and their navy is not without resources and skill. With a home empire secured, who is to say that an overseas empire cannot be taken and held too? And with that, we shall begin the Swedish campaign for Empire Total War for Wednesday. Let's begin.
Your first priority should be to use your strong standing army and navy to secure territory along the Baltic Sea coast, obstructing hostile Russia in their attempts to gain a cold water port at Ingria. By rights, all the nations of Scandinavia should bend the knee to Swedish power, so expand the boundaries of your territory to include Denmark and Norway, whilst maintaining good diplomatic and trade relations with countries such as Britain and France. With Russia on the offensive, it would also be prudent to court good relations with your enemy's enemy, Ottoman Turkey.
And before we get started for our first turn, we have an event here. The Gregorian calendar. Many Protestant nations in Europe, with the notable exception of the Great Britain, have gradually adopted the reforms of the Julian calendar, first proposed by the papal bull of 1582 by Pope Gregory XIII. The new calendar seeks to correct the gradual drifting forward of the seasons and the feast of Easter under the old Julian calendar, which has 11 days longer than its civil equivalent. The Gregorian reforms removed the extra days and inserted a leap year, an extra day every 4 years to further correct the previous drift. And now as we get started, like in all of our campaigns, we're going to boost up our infrastructure and our coin. So let's begin.
Aye, aye, Captain.
We'll grab our navy here on Emanuel Johansson. And we'll sail him for the ports here at Malmo.
Hissa segel. Skeppsorder.
Come back up here.
Era order.
Grab Carl Gustaf. March him into Stockholm for the time being, the garrison.
Mannar framåt.
And for this, to save us some coin, we're going to expand 1 unit of militia. This unit of pike. And this unit of provisional cavalry.
Ers höghet.
We'll grab our gentleman, Christopher, and move him into Uppsala.
Ja. En lärdomens och kulturens högborg.
And for agricultural wise, we're going to research improved animal husbandry. They're about the same turn amount, so yes, we'll do that. As far as our infrastructure and coin, in the Vera farmland, like the peasant farm. And Nazia farmland, we're going to go ahead and construct some pheasant farms as well. Here in St. Petersburg, we'll construct some cobbled roads.
Befälhavare.
And we'll grab Adam Ludwig. Move him into St. Petersburg garrison.
Marsch.
As before in Stockholm, we're going to remove, actually we're going to keep this unit of militia. We're going to get rid of this unit of pikemen. So we'll disband them. Here in the fort, we'll keep this light cavalry.
Mina ögon och era öron.
In the meantime, we'll grab our rake. We'll move him here.
Lönnlighet skyddar mig från upptäckt. Jag döljer mig.
We'll come here to Riga, Estonia, Livonia. Actually, we'll come up here to Fasalimi. Construction iron mine. And here in Abo. Basic roads.
Guds ödmjuke tjänare.
And we'll grab our missionary. Thor here. And we'll move him here.
Herrens ord är min lag. Vilar.
Come under our diplomatic. We're friendly with France, indifferent with Great Britain, but we are both trading. I like to trade with the Ottomans, but we cannot trade with them at the moment. We're hostile with the Russians, there's no point in trading with them. Same with Poland, Lithuania. Same with Denmark. And of course the Barbary States. Corton is unfriendly with us, but can trade with them. We'll hold off on any diplomatic stuff. And we have 4 turns for researching. Improved animal husbandry. So we'll go with that still, and we'll end our turn. And for turn 2, we have an event. The Julian calendar. Though to many observers, time in Russia passes slowly this year, it's actually converted to go backwards by over 5,500 years. For time out of mind, Russia has used the Anno Mundi calendar based on creation of the world. It's pinpointed by most accurately by Pandorus of Alexandria in antiquity. This calendar puts New Year's on 1st September and holds the current year to be 7208. However, the Tsar has recently returned from an embassy to Europe and decreed that Russia shall henceforth adopt the Julian calendar in use there. Julian calendar is a Roman system modeled on a tropical year beginning on January 1st, lasting 365 days, with an extra day every fourth or leap year. In addition, the numbering of years has been changed to the annual Domini system beginning the accepted birth year of Christ. With Russia's prestige rising as her stature among her Western allies grows, the Tsar is doing away with complexities of converting between calendars that previously led to embarrassment on the battlefield, where allies would turn up to fight weeks apart, believing they were converging on the same date. Whereas the Tsar has made the change an official mandate across the empire, it has not been acknowledged by the clerics of the Orthodox faith, who continue to use their original system. A war has been declared. War has been broken out between the nations of the United Provinces and Spain. A war has been declared between Prussia and Austria. War has also been declared between Poland, Lithuania, and Austria. And lastly, we have a construction report. We have peasant farms out of Vera farmlands, Sweden, and peasant farmlands out of Zenizia farmland, Ingria. And with that, we'll continue here in Stockholm, Sweden. And instead of a conservatorium, we're going to construct an opera house. And build some cobbled roads. Here in Karlstad, we're going to go ahead and construct a body house. We're back here in Stockholm. We're going to recruit a unit of line. We'll recruit 3 units. Here in Ava. We'll hold here.
Hur kan jag tjäna er?
But we'll grab Thor, missionary. And move him here.
Ja. Kan jag stå till tjänst?
Here in St. Petersburg. We'll go and construct a conservatorium.
Hur kan jag stå till tjänst?
And we'll grab our rake. And we'll try to infiltrate Moscow. And we'll try to infiltrate, like I said. And we have a 2% chance of success.
Undersöker målet.
And we have a mission success. And we shall end our turn. And August II of Poland, Lithuania requests an audience. They demand a trade agreement and 430 coin, and they offer a trade agreement. I shall accept. And Peter I of Russia is requesting an audience. They demand a trade agreement, and they demand that we give them Ingria, Estonia, and Lithuania. And they offer a trade agreement with an exchange for Komi and Karelia. Well, unfortunately, we need Ingria, Estonia, and Lithuania, but we do need Karelia. We have not much use for Kumi. But how about just a trade agreement? No territory exchange. Unfortunately, it was not to their liking. For turn 3, we have an event. Captain Kidd. The notorious buccaneer William Kidd has finally been brought to justice on 5 counts of piracy and murder. Unfortunately, miscalculations on the part of the hangman meant Kidd had to be hanged a second time, and his body weight broke the first rope. But now, his giblet swings in the breeze overlooking the Thames as an example to would-be pirates everywhere. Despite this, there remain those, some who mutter darkly that Kidd's honor remains intact, that he is innocent and his fate was sealed when he tangled with the Machiavellian men of the East Indian Company. We may never know for sure where the truth lies, as we may never be certain where Kidd's fabled hoard of priceless treasure is buried. But unfortunately, our break was detected. Bobislav with an ancillary gain for Karl Haskell's mistress, +1 to happiness to nobility. Now every lady is ladylike, which is why this lady has an extremely comfortable life. And we have a recruitment report out of Sweden. We have 3 units of line infantry. And we have a construction report. We have iron mines at Salami Mines, Finland. And we have basic roads out of Abo, Finland. Unfortunately, since our rig was discovered in Moscow, we're going to reposition him. So we're going to move him back up north.
Varför vissade de min diskretion? Jag tar skydd.
Back in St. Petersburg, we'll go construct a cannon foundry. Here in Norway, we'll go construct a body house. Here in Abo, we'll construct a governor's residence. Back here in Stockholm, we'll raise 3 more units of line. And we'll end our turn. And Peter the First of Russia again is requesting an audience. He's demanding that we give him Ingria in exchange for military access for 20 turns. And we'll refuse that offer. And we have an alliance broken between Prussia and Poland and Lithuania. But we have an event. For turn 4, we have smallpox inoculation. Since the dawn of time, smallpox has stalked mankind, killing 1 in 3 of those infected, and leaving many survivors permanently scarred, impotent, or even blinded. His victims in this century alone number countless millions. The shadow of death has now receded from Europe in the light of wisdom from the East. Though originally treated with skepticism by West, rumors that a preventive method used in India, China, parts of Africa, and now the Ottoman Empire have finally been proved correct. The process involves grinding the scabs from a smallpox victim's skin to a powder, then blowing them up the recipient's nose or rubbing infected pus into a small skin lesion. Having endured a mild form of the disease, the patient will then enjoy immunity or just occasionally an agonizing death. Despite some early reluctance, the process is now gaining in popularity in Europe. In Britain, for instance, the royal family have all been inoculated. Any initial squeamishness they may have felt was overcome by the simple expedient of compelling several convicts to receive the treatment and observing none of them have died, that it was good enough for them and probably safe to proceed. And we have a construction report. We have a conservatorium out of St. Petersburg, Ingria, and cobbled roads out of St. Petersburg, Ingria. And we have a recruitment report. Out of Sweden, we have 3 units of flying infantry. And we have another event. We have a nation destroyed, Saxony. We'll start off back here in Stockholm, Sweden. And we'll recruit some demi-cannons. We'll recruit 2 units of those. And a regiment of horse. We'll come down here to Linkborgen and construct a weaver's cottage. Same down there in Dottenburg. We'll construct his workshop. We have 1 turn left. And we'll end our turn. Actually, forgot about 2 important characters here.
Ja,
We'll grab Thor and send him here.
ögonblickligen. Hur kan jag stå till ytterligare tjänst?
Hur kan jag stå till tjänst?
And we'll grab Lars, our rake, and send him here.
Lönnlighet skyddar mig från upptäckt. Något mer?
Now we'll end our turn. And we have technology advanced, improved animal husbandry. This application of rational scientific principles of the care and breeding of farm livestock. Animal husbandry is, of course, a practical skill of every farmer, cowhand, shepherd, pig boy, and egg collector on just about every farm in the world. It is, however, a matter of hard-won individual experience in folklore rather than rational, organized study. Legitimate scholars apply their scientific methods of study to animals close to home, and improvement in animal care, health, and breeding quality can result, leading in turn to greater yields for the farmers. Historically, Thomas Coke, the first Earl of Leicester, 1754 to 1842, was a leading light in this field in Europe. He recognized his lands and home at his family seat, Holcombe Hall. His Holcombe shearings were gatherings of agriculturists and gentlemen farmers who came to admire his flocks and herds and see new ways of turning a profit. Many now see these as the forerunners of the traditional county and agricultural shows that take place to this day. And with that, our next technology under research will be common land enclosures. But I think we'll do something military research to boost our military up. And we'll just seesaw between technology researches. And we have a construction report for turn 4. We have an opera house in Stockholm, Sweden, a body house in Karlstad, Sweden, and cobbled roads out of Stockholm, Sweden. And we have a recruitment report out of Sweden. We have a regiment of horse. But we'll begin over here with our rake Lars, and we'll try to infiltrate Karelia. And we have a 95% chance of doing so, so we're going to attempt.
Vakar och lyssnar.
And Lars has been successful in infiltrating Karelia.
Ers höghet.
We'll grab our missionary Thor here, and we'll bring him into Karelia.
Ja,
Back here in St. Petersburg, I think we'll construct an admiralty. Get our navy going. Here in Rival, we'll go ahead and construct a weaver's cottage. And here in Riga, Estonia, and Labunia, we'll go ahead and construct a governor's mansion. And construct some cobbled roads. Swing back over here to Stockholm. And recruit another regiment of horse. And we'll end our turn. Oh, I forgot. Researching technology. We'll research the plug bayonet. And we'll end our turn. And for turn 5, we have agent recruited, Sven Enderman. Gentleman. And Lars has not still been detected yet in his mission. And we have a destruction report. At Norway, son of Livonia, we have a body house. At Abo, Finland, we have a governor's residence. And out of St. Petersburg, Ingria, we have a cannon foundry. And we have a recruitment report. Out of Sweden, we have 2 units of demi-cannons and a unit of regiment of horse. With that here in Sweden, we're gonna grab our gentleman and move him to Uppsala.
Som det behagar er. En lärdomens och kulturens högborg.
Now we're gonna grab our army. And we're going to march here.
Vidare order. Något mer?
Back in Stockholm, we're going to recruit 3 more units of line. And we're going to recruit a unit of brig. And a brig down in Malmo. And we have 2 turns till our bayonet is researched. And we'll end our turn. And for turn 6, we have a sexual mission for Lars, and still has not been detected in this spy mission. Well, we have an event. The nation destroyed. The Crimean Khanate. And we have a recruitment report. We have a brig out of the Baltic Sea and another brig out of the Baltic Sea. And out of Sweden, we have 3 units of flying infantry. Well, back here in Malmo, we're going to recruit another brig. And back in Visby, we're going to recruit another brig. Back in Stockholm, we're gonna create 3 more units of line. But before we continue, I forgot we had a construction report. We have an iron workshops out of Gothenburg, Sweden, and a weaver's cottage out of Linköping, Sweden. Before we continue, I'm gonna grab our brig and move him down to Malmo.
Lägg om kursen! Avvaktar vidare order!
Era order!
We'll grab Carl Gustaf. And the Swedish line will awaken, and we shall invade Norway.
Förbered mannarna för strid!
We'll see what happens. Denmark's not calling their allies.
Förbanden redo! Där är redo för strid!
And next turn, we'll see Tristina, Norway. And we'll end our turn. And Russia is declaring war. Unfortunately, we have no allies to call to our aid, so we'll see what happens. It looks like Poland and Lithuania is not coming to Russia's aid, so it'll just be Russia and Denmark versus Sweden. And Buckman I of the Barbary States is requesting an audience. They demand 2,000 coin in a peace treaty, and they offer a peace treaty. And we will not negotiate with the Barbary States. And for turn 7, we have an agent recruited as Hilding, a rake out of Sweden. Unfortunately, we've had a trade route raided by the Danes. But we have military technology research, the plug bayonet. A plug bayonet turns a musket into a crude spear or half pike by plugging the muzzle with a blade handle like a cork into a bottle. At one time, marching regiments were composed of musketeers and pikemen. The pikes provided protection for the musketeers while they slowly reloaded, and in the event of a cavalry attack in a melee, The musketeers reversed their guns and used them as clubs, or dropped them and drew swords. Neither solutions were ideal, and equipping half a unit with pikes also had its potential firepower. As muskets became lighter and no longer needed a firing rest, it became practical to attach a blade to the muzzle, giving the user a better than makeshift weapon in melee. Ramming blade hilt first into the muzzle is a practical solution. The soldier then has a short pike to fend off cavalry, in use in hand-to-hand combat. The drawbacks are that it is often difficult to remove the plug bayonet once it is in anger and resume firing. The user cannot reload, and only a fool fires a gun when the barrel is blocked. Historically, muskets with plug bayonets were the equivalent of short pikes. An old-fashioned pike drill applied. Men advanced with their muskets held shoulder high and leveled at the enemy. And next technology research will be the carbines, but we'll jump back to agricultural. And the trade agreement with Russia has been cancelled. And Lars still has not been detected in his spying mission. And we have a recruitment report. Both out of the Baltic Sea, we have 2 brigs. And out of Sweden, we have 3 units of line infantry. And we have a construction report. At Rival, Estonia, Livonia, we have a Weaver's Cottage. And out of Riga, Estonia, Livonia again, we have cobbled roads. And we have an ancillary grain to Sergriv Malamar, private security. +1 to management for Treasury Administration, +2 to management for Justice Administration. The business of managing an empire necessitates lengthy correspondence, copious minutes, voluminous regulations, and a big bottle of ink. With that, we're going to begin here with our army in Christina, Norway. And we're going to lay siege to Christina.
Förbanden redo!
And we're going to continue the siege.
De är belägrade!
And wait for them to break out. Back here in Stockholm, we're going to recruit some sackers. And a unit of regiment of horse. And we're going to send our rake down here.
Jag döljer mig.
And we'll grab our brig to Phoenix. And we'll send them down to Malmo.
Skeppsorder mottagna. Skeppsorder.
Våra I want to do is do a little reconnaissance. So I'll take the Solon. I'll send them here.
Lägg om kursen! Avvaktar vidare order!
And what I'll do now is I'll blockade the port here in Aarhus.
Till stridsposeringarna! Klar för drabbning!
Retaliation for Denmark messing with our trade port. I'll grab the rest of our fleet. Sail them here.
För segel! Skeppsorder, kapten!
Since they have no more ports to build any ships for the time being besides Aarhus, which I am blockading and raiding at the moment. Back over here in St. Petersburg, since we're at war with Russia now. We're going to construct the barracks. And recruit some regiment of horse. And we're going to end our turn. So before we do that, research and technology. We'll do common land enclosures. And I'll take care of the peasant farms research. And then we can move on to tenant farms and their research tree. And now we'll end our turn. And for turn 8, Lars still has not been detected in this spying mission. But I have plans for Lars here in a little bit. But before we continue, we have an event the Ori invented. The celebrated clockmaker George Graham has produced a wondrous mechanical device that accurately models the motion of the planet, with a model sun at its center, and the planets arrayed around it on metal rod. The machine is powered by a characteristically accurate clockwork mechanism. Copies of this fascinating and beautiful machine are being produced for several persons of high status, including the Earl of Ori, under whose patronage the project was undertaken, and in whose honor the apparatus was named. Whereas the ancient Greeks are said to have modeled the known planets and their motions, Graham's Ori is the first example of such a device from our modern age, including many planets of which the ancients were unaware. The Ori is all more admirable, and the seal of complexity in its construction mirrors in some small way the infinite intricacies of the heaven, and yet serves the present those difficult concepts in a fashion readily apparent to those without an inquiring mind when it comes to matters of science. And we have a recruitment report out of Sweden. We have a regiment of horse. And out of Ingria, we have 2 regiments of horse. And we have a construction report. Out of Riga, Estonia, Livonia, we have a governor's mansion. And out of St. Petersburg, Ingria, we have Admiralty. We'll begin here in St. Petersburg for turn 8. And we'll recruit some more regiment of horse. And as far as Lars goes, his mission will be here and see if any Russians are coming.
Något ytterligare uppdrag?
Back up here in Stockholm. We're going to construct a royal observatory. And of course, raise 1 more regiment of horse. Back up here in Fisby. We'll recruit another brig. And here in Malmo, we'll recruit another brig as well.
Mina ögon och era öron.
We'll grab our rake here and try to infiltrate Copenhagen. And we have a 75% chance of doing so.
Undersöker målet.
And Osvat has successfully infiltrated Copenhagen.
Skutan är slagfärdig, kapten.
We'll grab our fleet here. And since I cannot find that Danish ship that was raiding our ports, and that's okay. We're gonna blockade the harbor here, even though it has no building, which I don't think we'll have to worry about. Iceland up here. So in the meantime, we'll keep our whole fleet here at Aarhus.
Order mottagna. Avvaktar vidare order.
And we have 2 turns left. And we'll keep the siege up here at Christina going. And we'll end our turn. And for turn 9, we have an event. Agent executed. Ivel Nikitin. Assuming he was a Russian spy, we have apprehended and executed. And where was he found? In St. Petersburg. And Arvist has successfully completed this mission, still has not been detected in Copenhagen. We have an instellar grain to Rolf Sunselfun, well-connected mistress. +1 to management for treasury administration, +1 to management for justice administration. Knowing the right people to bribe or blackmail can do wonders for a man's career. And we have a recruitment report. Out of the Baltic Sea, we have 2 brigs. Out of Sweden, we have 2 sackers. And a regiment of horse. And out of Ingria, we have 2 regiments of horse. And out of St. Petersburg once again. We're going to recruit 2 demi-cannon this time.
Hur kan jag stå till tjänst?
We're going to grab Lars and we're going to try to assassinate this Russian gentleman. And we have a 41% chance of doing so, so we're going to attempt.
Lönnmordet är snart avklarat. Något mer? Jag inväntar er befallning.
And we have an assassination mission success. With that assassination success, we're gonna move Lars down to here.
Ingen kommer att utröna detta. Något mer?
We come back up here to Stockholm area. We're gonna grab the army here. And we're gonna march south.
Några fler order?
We'll grab our brig to Upland. And
Skeppsorder mottagna. Avvaktar vidare order.
And from Malmo, we'll sail here.
Alle man på däck, alle man på däck. Skeppsorder, kapten.
And we raided an enemy trade route. And we have one more turn to common land enclosure. And we'll end our turn.
Var beredda på bordning!
And the garrison at Christina, Norway is deciding to break out. And we shall meet them on the field. Let's begin our deployment.
Ja, befälhavaren! Utan dröjsmål! Ja, befälhavaren! Utan dröjsmål! Befälhavare! Ja, befälhavare!
Order!
Utan dröjsmål! Kavalleri! Utför order! Ja, befälhavaren!
Let the battle begin.
Infanteriet inrapporterar. Vänta på order från mig!
Utan dröjsmål!
Avvakta order från mig!
And we have a heroic victory.
Anfall!
And for turn 10, our final turn for Total War Wednesday, the Swedish campaign. For this week, we have a technology advance, common land enclosures. The appropriation of community land is an effective way for the landed classes to increase their wealth. Enclosure laws remove the rights of the lower social classes to graze their animals on common land because it is now legally someone's private property, and fencing as such. Farming become more efficient as a result because subsistence farming is replaced by cash crops and there is more food grown. This is of little consequence to the common people who have been disposed of their ancient rights. They cannot feed themselves anymore from their own small holdings and herds which graze on the commons and must take the wages offered by the new landlords. In England, the landowners sitting in Parliament were not backwards in passing many enclosure acts for their own benefit in the 18th century. Enormous parcels of land were effectively stolen from the common working people and incorporated into private estates. The effect was to empty the landscape of unwanted laborers who were forced into new mill towns and rapidly industrializing cities, stopping rural poverty for urban squalor. Poor laws did little to alleviate poverty other than making sure that the poor moved on to starve somewhere else. And with that, we have a new technology under research for field crop rotation, but we'll be doing something militarily. Like I said, we'll do back and forth. And we have a building constructed in Ingria. We have a barracks. Unfortunately, we have a worker strike in Norway, but we'll try to remedy that as soon as possible. And Arvas has successfully completed its mission and now has not been detected in Copenhagen yet. And we have a new port emergence in Sweden, Umeå. And we have a region captured, Norway. And now with Norway captured, we'll repair the governor's residence and refit and train the men. And now with the army being refitted and retrained in Norway, and Ork to the forest, we'll go ahead and construct a logging camp. And here our new port. We'll go ahead and construct a local fishery. And here in Abo, we'll go ahead and construct cobbled roads. In Azia farmland, we'll go ahead and construct tenanted farmlands. And here, in Vizimine farmland in Estonia and Lavinia, we'll go ahead and construct tenanted farms as well. And here in Varia farmland, we'll go and construct tenanted farms as well. I knew we had one more.
Varthän, kapten?
We'll keep Casino garrisoned. And we'll keep raiding the enemy supply route. We'll keep our navy here, blockading Aarhus.
Redskap!
And we'll grab our army here. And we'll march on Copenhagen, Denmark, and siege Copenhagen.
Förbanden redo! Det fångar dig!
We'll be gentlemen and demand their surrender. They refuse our demands, so we'll maintain the siege.
Vi befäster belägringen.
And lastly, back here around St. Petersburg area, we'll still recruit our 2 demi-cannon. We'll keep our army here. As soon as we get more coin, we'll raise some light infantry and deal with the Russian threat to the east.
Ja.
But in the meantime, we'll grab Lars and we'll try to infiltrate Moscow once again. And we have a 95% chance.
Vakar och lyssnar.
And unfortunately, our path is blocked.
Som ni befaller.
And we got around that, and Lars has infiltrated Moscow. So for the time being, we have a spy in our enemy's capital here in Moscow. And a spy doing work in Copenhagen, Denmark. We got eyes on both sides of the theater, which is perfect. And we managed to take out one of our enemies' holdings here, which was Norway. Leaving open Copenhagen, Denmark, and Iceland, as Denmark's only 2 territories left. And with us sieging Copenhagen, Iceland will be the only territory they have, and Denmark will not be much of a threat. We could turn our army, leaving Copenhagen and Norway garrisoned, and shifting our focus to the east, which would be Moscow. Once we deal with the threat in the east, we can hold our holdings and what we have and go from there. Well, my dear generals and commanders, that concludes it for Total War Wednesdays, the Swedish campaign. You may be wondering, General Smuggler, sir, campaign. Well, when I was going through deleting some old saves as we were going through that campaign, unfortunately, that one got deleted. But we still have the American experience still going. I still on current with that, and I will stay current with this campaign. So, join me next Wednesday as we continue with the American experience, and as we jump back into next Wednesday after some more rights, we'll go back to the Swedish campaign. Well, I'll see you guys all next Wednesday. Keep your uniforms clean and bright, your muskets in good working order, your bayonets sharp, and your flags flying high. And I will see you gentlemen next Wednesday.